7 things you probably didn't know about creativity in 5 minutes. Okay, first thing, go. First thing is, when organizations come and talk to me, they often ask, how can we become more creative? We're struggling. How do we hire Einsteins? And what I tell them is, now we know what your problem is. Because it turns out that anybody can be creative. And in fact, if you take an Einstein and you put that person in an environment that squelches creativity, that person will not be creative. And if you take a person with an average amount of creativity and put them in an environment that encourages creativity, we find that person can generate creative ideas. And there's a reason for this, in part because everyone in this room has a fundamental drive to be creative. There are 2 main reasons for this. The first is we have a need to belong for sure, but we also have a need to be distinctive, to stand out, to feel unique, to have pride in ourselves. And we have a drive to be curious, too. We want to know the answers to questions. And furthermore, creativity makes us feel happy. So you may have seen the research about feeling happy makes you more creative. Well, it turns out that after people are creative, they look like this. They look like they have won a gold medal. They are elated. They feel pride. They feel attached to that idea. And furthermore, what we find is they have this sense of meaning that they ascribe to that idea, which is why when their ideas are rejected when they're creative, it hurts. We find that when students, employees come to their teachers or bosses with creative ideas, and those ideas are rejected, the person experiences this sense of shame, this pain, this something that really reflects you with something that was not appreciated, and they feel more pain than they would feel if your idea was merely practical. So you feel really bad, and you feel like it's personal, but it turns out it may not be personal. In fact, it turns out the rejection that you may have received may not even be about your idea. How many, just as a show, how many people in the room have felt their ideas were rejected? Almost every single person in this room has felt this way. Well, I'm here to tell you something. There's a problem in the system. The research is coming out to show that if your idea is creative, it is more likely to be rejected. We are finding that educators say creativity is super important. It's not in the classroom. We are finding that businesses say innovation is their #1 priority. They are not implementing the creative ideas they have. In fact, it's more often for me to go into a company and hear the stories about all the ideas that got away and all the great ideas sitting on their shelf they never implemented, that their competitors implemented and are now doing well in the market. We find the same is true in medicine, in science. People are saying they want new papers, and they're rejecting them. There is a problem. And in particular, the problem is that decision makers don't know the answers when ideas are creative. So my laboratory and I, we wanted to learn more about this. How can people say they want creativity, but also then reject it? What's happening? And the results might surprise you. What we found was that everybody, in certain circumstances, can have an implicit bias against creativity. That means me, you, everyone can have this bias. And we find when we take students into the the laboratory, and we tell them to substantiate the statement, there's one correct solution, versus there's multiple solutions. We find that people associate the word creative with the word vomit, and they fail to recognize creative ideas. In other words, when you're trying to figure out a solution in the box, you can't see value in solutions outside of the box. So what we've discovered is that it's not enough to just know your discipline. You have to know how to recognize value in the new. And that requires you switch from wanting a correct solution to wanting a potential solution. To think about ideas not so much about being correct, but the potential that they can bring. So let me recount the things you might not know. Anyone can be creative. We have a drive to create. It makes us happy. But rejection of our ideas hurts and feels personal. It's not personal. There's a problem with the system. The research is showing it, that there is this bias against creativity because we've trained our students and ourselves to want correct solutions, and creative ideas aren't correct. They don't fit with paradigms. That's the point. And when we want creative solutions, the creativity we want slips through our fingers, so switch your mindset. Learn how to embrace creative idea. It's a skill, not a given. Thank you very much.